Welcome to the Pride Adventure podcast, where we explore the people, places, and passions shaping LGBTQ plus travel around the world. I'm Chris Smith, and today I'm joined by Lynn Schrum, founder of Women's Adventure Travel. While Lynn has been planning lesbian travel for over 2 decades, her company, Women's Adventure Travel, officially launched about 2 years ago, and it's already creating powerful, connection-driven experiences for queer women around the globe. Welcome, Lynn.
Hey,
How are you today?
thanks for having me. I'm so
Yeah.
excited.
Excited to have you. I'm going to just get right into some questions. Where are you joining us from today?
I'm in the Villages in Florida, sunny Florida, which is just north of Orlando. And there's a
Oh,
great
okay.
community here.
Orlando area. That's where a lot of cruises go out of, right?
Yeah. They go out of Cape Canaveral or Fort
Yeah.
Lauderdale.
I'm sure you've probably been in the travel industry for many years. You've probably done cruises and all kinds of things in travel.
Sure. Yes, absolutely.
That's awesome. What we're here to talk about today is you've been planning lesbian travel, group travel for quite a while now, but Women's Adventure Travel is a newer chapter. Can you share your venture into travel and how Women's Adventure Travel came to be?
Yeah. So I love traveling with other lesbians, and I went to a couple of the Olivia tours, resorts, and I've been talking to other lesbians, and we've been saying that Olivia is great on a large scale, but it's become expensive. And a friend of mine said, "Why don't you put together a company? You have a passion for this, love to organize and plan trips, and you should put together a company that offers tours." And so I thought, yeah, why not? And so that I have partnered with G Adventures for the most part. They're a great company. They're very LGBTQ friendly. You're familiar with them.
Yeah, we actually use G Adventures for a lot of our trips as well, and that's how we connected.
Yeah, it's been a great experience for me. And I think women's adventure travel is going to offer affordable tours for
Yeah.
small groups. And that's where we're different.
Okay. Were you offering Olivia trips prior when as as a travel agent before you started the group tours?
He did not offer him as a travel agent. Yeah. It was when you're dealing with Olivia, it's such a big company now that it's just so much easier for women to go directly to them and book.
Well, that makes sense. It's like an Atlantis trip for the guys.
Yeah.
It's easy to book those cruises and things like that. I totally understand that.
Yeah.
But that's pretty exciting that you get some people together. And I've had a similar trajectory where, people, they have a desire to go and have sometimes smaller group experiences. And sometimes some of the big trips, they're a ton of fun. Don't get me wrong. They're great. But sometimes you want just that more intimate experience. What was the first group trip that you took people out on and how did that go?
I took a group to Iceland. And what I loved about that trip, besides that Iceland is absolutely gorgeous, the most unusual country I've ever been to. But there was a woman, it was a small group. G Adventures Max is typically 16 with a minimum of 8 people. So there was a woman on the tour, had not traveled much. I'm not even sure she'd been outside the US. So she was a little bit nervous. And this excursion was hiking on a glacier. It was crazy. And we were about to step on this glacier. This group of lesbians are going to step on this glacier. And she turns to us and says, "I think I'm going to have a panic attack." And so we all just huddled around her and just
That's awesome.
across this glacier. And she was so excited. But I think that's what a small group experience is about. That's what I enjoy.
Just the camaraderie
Yeah.
and the togetherness. I guess it's the same kind of word, but it really is. I've had those experiences as well where you just see kind of somebody, maybe they come together, they don't really know each other. And then by the end of the trip, they're like buddies and giving each other crap. And it's just, it's fun. And they're in those chats and stuff, really getting along with each other. A lot of times when you're in a bigger experience, it's fun, but you don't get those direct connections as much because you're just seeing so many people. So you get really small moments with people. With these small groups, you actually get a longer period to get to know someone and get to know the people in the group. And in most cases, it's just an amazing thing.
Yeah, when people came back, when the women came back, they were just chatting, even on posting pictures on Facebook, and just now we're all friends on Facebook. And I think with the larger tours, no matter who you go with, it's more like a big party, which is fun. But if you want a more intimate setting, then I think a smaller group works well.
Yeah. And I didn't even plan to talk about G Adventures too much, but one thing about G Adventures that I really enjoy is their local community give back. And it's also that they have such a good breadth of trips around the world. I've sat with the owner of G Adventures, Bruce Poon Tip, and it's just really permeates throughout their entire company, what they stand for.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
think it really goes in line with the mission that we have at Pride Adventure Travel with community and inclusivity and all those things. I think they're a great organization to work with.
Yeah, that's what I found. I went to India with them in February. And for example, they use a company called Women on Wheels. And so they're always focusing on using the local people. They support the local communities, especially women and children. And we went to a co-op where they had arts and crafts, and we went to a center where G Adventure sponsors help for kids on the street, which is a huge issue in India. So it was just like getting goosebumps just
Yeah,
thinking
it's
about it.
just neat to see that. It's neat to
Yeah.
see that a company puts community first in a way. Corporate profits, obviously there are. You see that there's an actual real intent. They have an organization that's called Planetara, and Planetara is their nonprofit arm. Like you said, I get the little warm fuzzies when I talk about it. So I'm really excited to partner with them. I'm happy you're partnering with them, and I'm happy that we're partnering together. We'll talk about that in a
Oh,
minute.
yeah, yeah,
But let's
absolutely.
talk. Let's go back to who your travelers are. Obviously, we said your travelers are lesbian women. Do you have any more specifics about like ages or demographics or anything like that as far as your tours or trips?
Normally, these women are 40 plus. We, of course, open up our tours to 18 and up. But one of the things that has happened is I get two types of women that email me or call me and say, I'm single, and they're afraid of being the third wheel. They think that they're going on a tour with a bunch of couples. And oddly, like Iceland, there were more singles than couples.
We get the
Uh,
same exact experience,
oh,
same
interesting.
exact
Okay.
thing, like,
Yeah,
and the same worries.
yeah. And the other thing that's happened is there are women who are maybe 70 plus and they're concerned about being too old. And for me, there's not a too old. Yeah. And they're concerned about the physical level of the tour. And that's the other thing, great thing about G Adventures is they actually rate the tour from, I believe it's 1 to 5, 1 being the lowest physical type of tour, light walking or whatever. So I always give them, but let them know that we have had women certainly in their 70s, and we've had lots of singles.
That's great. Most of the tours I'm finding are like typically like twos and threes out of that 1 through 5. If you're going to get into the fives, it's because you're like trekking Mont Blanc, which we're going to be doing that, or we're going to Canada and in July that'll be a 4 or 5.
Yeah,
But most of the tours that we do, like the Ecuador Galápagos, which you're going as well, and
yeah.
we'll talk about that in a minute. I know that's like I think it's a 2. Obviously, if you're going to go snorkeling or scuba diving or something like that, it goes up. But those are all optional activities, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's the other great thing is you have options if you want to do more. You can cycle, you can kayak. They have excursions that you can snorkel if you're that type of traveler.
I want to talk about your Facebook community. So you've developed, and that's how I started as well, where I created a Facebook community. It's grown and grown. And that's where a lot of interest blooms and people chat about what they want to do. What is your Facebook group and how can people join that?
They can go to Women's Adventure Travel at Facebook and just be sure it's the woman looking at her head. You see her head and she's looking at the sea. So all of the tours are Android events. But I think for me, the most important thing is to find out where do women want to go. And so I'm constantly asking, tell me your bucket list and let's see what we can put together. And women do chat on there about their experiences on the tours and they post pictures. So
It's a great way to get reviews, and it's a
yeah,
great way to have like true engagement that's authentic. Sometimes having a website, and I know you don't have a website right now, which we're going to talk about in just a second. Could be posting some of your tours and stuff on our website, but Facebook page is a great way to get authentic reviews. Sometimes too authentic, but and that's okay because you do want people to see kind of everything.
it's funny because I found Facebook to be much more interactive than a website. It's just, I found that people were not using it. It's odd because some people were saying, can I use a deposit?
And you're like, it's right on the website.
And that's the other thing I want to mention is that G Adventures sets up the deposit so that we're not holding the money. So it gives another level of security for those people that don't know who Women's Adventure Travel is.
Absolutely. That's a great way to do it. I'm going to go to the next section. I met Lynn and we just discussed how a potential partnership with Pride Adventures, which is mostly gay men travel, and Women's Adventure Travel, which is lesbian travel, how we can work together. Because when we do talk about LGBTQ plus, we all know that we are in our own kind of areas, but we're also together in a broader umbrella. And we do want to travel with like-minded people. We all understand this. We have a lot of lesbian women seeing our ads and coming to our website because they see, oh, there's a trip to Italy. And there's some assumption there because I don't want to put a picture of like just men all the time everywhere. So I said, I'm getting these lesbian women that are inquiring, let's connect. And so Lynn is getting those leads and she's going to be working with the lesbian women and we're going to post those trips on Pride Adventures. And we're really excited to work with you to do that. We are waiting for a new website to launch. I literally put final comments today. So hopefully within the next couple of weeks we'll be launched and Lynn will have a website that's dynamic. We'll have all the trip details and then we'll link to a form that will allow you to go to that form and just fill out some details and Lynn will reach out to you. Those trips will not be booked at that point. She will walk you through the booking process, but I'm excited to work with you, Lynn.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the next thing. One of the things that you brought up was the limit or the lack of options for lesbian travel. Why do you think there's a lack of options and what do you feel is needed in the community? I think we already talked about this a little bit, but just kind of to go over that again.
I think part of it is we are in a niche as travel agents. That narrows down our clientele per se. For me, I've noticed I've got to figure out what countries women want to go to and then figure out how can I be inclusive in terms of like what is the physical rating on that tour? I think the other thing is like Olivia's been around for so long and they've grown and grown. They've grown to a point where they can rent out a whole cruise ship.
Yeah.
And I think that makes a big difference.
So maybe the point here is that there's these big options that
Yeah.
you can do,
Yeah.
and then there's these smaller options that are a little bit more intimate. And the recommendation for me, since I've done both, is do them both. Try them both. If you've done the big stuff, try a small group trip and just experience it once and see what you think because it is a different experience. So that's pretty neat to think about, and it's awesome that you're offering that option to women because it's not easy. It's not easy. You've got to get those 8 people a trip going. And then you can have up to about 16 people max. Lynn puts a lot of effort and work into kind of just even coming up with these tours and trips, and then she puts them out there. And it's really one of those things where we've got to get that at least a minimum group. And even at 8 to 10, like I'm taking to Italy, that's going to be awesome because it's even a more intimate group.
Yeah,
So I'm excited about that.
You've got to be passionate about travel. And so not everybody wants to organize and herd. Herding lesbians is like a herding cat.
I hear the same thing all the time saying, Chris, I love you. I love what you do, but I could never do it.
Never do it. You're dealing with the public. But the other thing I've noticed is Women's Adventure Travel and G Adventures offers affordable trips. And that was one of my main goals, is to offer something for lesbians and offer something that's affordable. These are not luxury trips. The accommodations are clean, they're safe.
I call them adventure hotels.
Adventure hotels, yeah. But some of these companies have what I call a gay upcharge. They double their prices. And so it's not affordable for a lot of women.
We were in Costa Rica, and I feel like we had a pretty affordable price for our trip. Some amazing things. We even did stay at a really nice resort. It was a 5-star. I thought it was going to be 4, but it was really nice.
Oh, nice.
But we looked at the next similar trip from one of the bigger companies, and it was 100% more
Right,
to
right.
go on this other trip. I don't mean to bad talk, but it's just one of those things where you also want to look at value as well. And I do know that with how you're operating your trips, and I've seen your pricing and everything, it's just the value is incredible. I can
Yeah.
definitely vouch for that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your trips.
Right.
You've got some amazing adventures coming up. I know you got 4 right now in the future. First one is Thailand, November 1st to the 14th. I know you already have that sold out, but we do want to tell people, even if a trip is sold out, always request a wait list spot because sometimes people can cancel. Sometimes we can add a couple spots. I know you could do that as well once in a while. So you want to tell us a little bit about the Thailand adventure?
Thailand is going to be amazing. It is a 2-week trip, and it's only, I'm looking at my price sheet, $26.99 based on double occupancy, and a single supplement is $4.79. That includes accommodations. Normally, G Adventures has hotels where the breakfast is included. So most of the time, breakfast. And then here and there are lunches. We're doing a cooking.
We did the cooking class in where was it? We did it in Chiang Mai.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's where it is. We're going to Chiang Mai. It starts in Bangkok. And it's called the West Coast Thailand Tour because it includes 3 islands. So this is where people can get more physical if they want to. There are snorkeling options. We've got a speedboat tour where you actually drive the boat, and we've got a cycling tour. So there are additional options besides just the regular
Yeah,
tour.
that's exciting. I took a group in 2023. We didn't do the islands, which I recommend doing those. Next time we go, we're definitely going to do some of the islands. I know we have a group actually going in October, but the Chiang Mai is really neat, and going in Bangkok is just awesome. It's just such a cool experience going and seeing a different culture. That's
Yeah.
what I love about travel.
Yeah, I love Asia. It's just such another world.
Well, since it's on wait list, I guess we probably should skip through it pretty quick, but
Actually, I was going to say that for that trip, initially we started out with 16, and I went back to G Adventures and said, look, this trip is sold out. Can you get me any more spots? And they gave me 2 more spots, and they're saying that they could potentially get more, a couple more.
what tour are you doing in Egypt?
This one is called Best of Egypt, and it starts in Cairo, and then it
Yep, we're doing
includes-
that same one. We're doing the
Oh,
exact
cool.
same trip.
Okay.
So with G Adventures. So that's
Yeah, it
exciting.
includes the pyramids, which has been on my bucket list. It is, although it's not a cruise, there are a couple opportunities to cruise the Nile, to go to other locations using the Nile, which again, that's been at the top of my list. So it's a 9-day, and it's $1,500 based on double occupancy, and the single supplement is $379.
It's such an affordable trip. You're
It
going
really
to
is.
Cairo, you're going to Aswan, you're doing the Valley of the Kings. There's a 3-day cruise that's associated with it. It's actually go to Alexandria, so definitely highly recommend the Egypt trip. As far as safety and things like that, I think that's probably the first thing that people think of in the Middle East, what's going on right now. I've spoken to the folks at G Adventures. I have friends that live in and from Cairo, and tourism is alive and well and very busy. It is a safe place to go. You do need to just be respectful of culture.
I'm glad you brought that up because I have had people ask me about that. And so I got on Facebook, and there's I guess a lesbian Facebook group in Egypt, and I asked the question, what is it like? And they both, 2 women, said independently that Egypt is fine, and that actually there, and this is true in other countries, that the women are actually pretty comfortable touching each other, even though they're not lesbians per se.
It's the same thing with men actually in Egypt.
Yeah.
Men actually hold hands as
Yeah. I
Mhm.
saw that
It's
in
cultural.
India, and I kept looking like, but they're not together. They're just more like brothers.
Absolutely. That's going to be a really cool trip. You have a couple more trips, Ecuador and Galapagos, which I hinted towards earlier, because
Yeah.
we're doing a lot of the same trips, but I think it's neat because we have
Yeah.
different groups going. The Ecuador and Galapagos, which tour are you doing? I know you're going in April, the end of April, early May 2026.
Yeah, this is island hopping in Galapagos. So it starts in Quito. It includes the flight to San Cruz. That's where it actually starts. And although it's considered a land tour, they move you around to the other islands for a day by speedboat. And there are lots of opportunities, again, to snorkel, to kayak. There are 3 islands, let's see.
Yeah, San Cristobal Island. And that's the same tour we're doing too. So it's exciting. You get to go to Kicker Rock, which is this famous rock where you do snorkeling at. You can actually do some scuba diving activities if you're registered, if you're certified.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot of opportunities there as well. San Isabel is another island. I don't have all of them off the top of my head, but it's pretty exciting. The other thing that you got to do there is you get to go to the center where they have the giant Galapagos tortoises.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's like an epic like experience.
I will say that one of these islands is famous for the blue-footed boobies.
Hmm.
So I think there's a good chance to see
Yeah,
that.
the blue-footed boobies, those are really neat to see. I just posted a video just recently about the Galapagos, and it was somebody that got there, and within their first 24 hours, all the animals they saw, which
Oh,
was just
neat.
pretty neat. That
Yeah.
was pretty neat. So I'm excited about that trip, and I know that you're excited about it as well. We're going on it this December, so I'll be able to tell you all about it after we're done.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we already have 8 signed up, and it's not
Oh, that's
till
great.
April. So it's a go.
So it's already a confirmed trip. So if anybody's interested in joining for the Galapagos Islands, this is a great way to do it.
Yeah.
And then you're looking forward to another trip that's been on your mind for a while. And you're heading to the Isle of Scotland.
Yes, this is an interesting. Scotland's been on my list, my radar, and I looked at the tour through G Adventures, and then I saw on this Facebook group, and it's in OBA in Scotland, and every year in September they have this annual lesbian weekend. It sounds like so much fun. And the administrator for the Facebook group said, "Hey, why don't you bring over a group of women from the U.S.?" And it's like, let's make this happen. So we're waiting for the dates for their weekend, and then
Okay.
we will book G Adventures, the Scotland tour, the week before, so that we end in Glasgow, and then you take a train to Oban for this crazy weekend.
That sounds like an amazing trip. It's I'm trying to do a lot of those as well, especially with the name Pride. I want like our Iceland trip. We're starting with Pride weekend. When we next year in Amsterdam, we're doing World Pride Amsterdam, and then we're going on the Central Europe trip. So we're trying to do some of those as well. So I think that's great. I think the women that travel with you are going to love that.
It's interesting because told G Adventures, I said, I think this is going to sell out like the first week. And they said, we might be able to get you a whole nother tour.
We've done that. We've done 2 tours.
Okay.
I'm going to warn you, it's a lot of work.
Yes, I'm sure it is.
You'll need to find another tour host to help you. But it's my brother, actually. We're going to South Africa in a few weeks, and my brother's leading one tour, and I'm leading the other tour. And we're literally starting a day apart. So we have one going and then the other, just because sometimes the safaris and stuff only have so much room. So we're all going at the same time, but we'll just be one day apart. And then at the end, we all meet up. It's going to be kind of neat. And then you can do something like that and then go right to Oban.
I'm glad you brought that up because I'm definitely looking for women that would like to be a travel host. And there's a discount for that person. So, for example, if you have a group of 6 women, we can help market that trip, and that person would get a discount, possibly a free tour.
Yeah, that's great. I actually have a really good referral for you. I have a lady that reached out to us just recently.
Awesome.
And so I'll send that over after this call.
Sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah. Besides prideadventures.com, which is coming soon. So your trips are going to be on our website. Where can our listeners and people that are learning about you go to learn more about women's adventure travel and connect with your community?
Facebook, or they can call me at 407-288-2157, or they can email me at womensadventuretravel@yahoo.com.
Lynn, thank you so much for being here and all the heart that you've put into women's adventure travel over the years. I'm excited about this next chapter of us working together and excited to see what happens with your trips. And for everyone listening, we're going to make sure we get those links in there, and we're going to put all the upcoming trips all in the information and description as well. And these trips tend to fill up fast. So if you see a trip that you want to go on, connect with Lynn right away and she'll get you all set up.
Thank you again for this partnership. I'm just like blown away. But
yeah,
that's the way it works, is we connect with the right people. And
all about relationships, all about people and working together as a community. And that's kind of our mission at Pride Adventures. I know that I'm going to do my trips, and we both have our goal where we make a living doing this. So we need to fill what we need to fill. But I think there's an overarching community that is in need as well. So excited to do it and excited to work with you. Thanks so much for the call today, Lynn.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Talk to you later.
All right. Bye-bye.
If you liked this episode of the Pride Adventure Podcast, please like, subscribe, and share. Thanks for watching, and keep adventuring with pride.